Welcome back to the Podcasting Problem Solver. I am Leah Bryant, your go-to podcast growth strategist, here to coach you to podcast strategically for better results. Real quick, before we get into today's episode, I need to shout out the listeners in Croatia, Ghana, and Egypt. You all have had me in the top 100 how-to podcasts for quite a while now. And I just want you to know that I appreciate you listening and being there. If you ever have questions or comments or anything, please feel free to DM me on Instagram at LeahBryant_co, and I would love to chat with you. All right, so let's get into it. I want to ask you something, as I like to do in most episodes. Have you ever published an episode you knew without a shadow of a doubt, like in the depths of your soul, you knew it was good, only to watch it quietly flop? Yep, no comments, no spike in downloads, no sudden, oh my gosh, this episode changed my life in your DMs. And you're sitting there like, excuse me, internet, did you miss how helpful that was? Here's the uncomfortable truth that I want to share with you that most podcasters don't want to hear. And that is, your episode probably didn't get ignored. It just didn't get clicked, right? So today, I'm going to walk you through one title tweak that consistently boosts click-through rates without clickbait, without gimmicks, and without dancing for any algorithm. And yes, it works way better than you think. So you ready? Okay, here's what's sneaky about those low click-through rates I want you to remember. When downloads are low, most podcasters immediately go to the, oh my gosh, I need better promotion. Or I should post more on Instagram. Or my personal favorite, maybe my show just needs more time. And sometimes, sure, part of that's the reason. But a lot of the times the issue is actually much, much simpler. People see your episodes, but your title doesn't give them a reason to press play. Your SEO is working great. Your episode is showing up in the search results. Podcast platforms are recommending it like hotcakes. But people are scrolling past it in their app. I know. You're getting found. But if the title doesn't spark curiosity or promise that clear outcome, they're going to keep scrolling. And this, my friend, lives squarely in the attraction phase of my Seamless Podcast Framework. That crucial moment where your content has to earn attention before your brilliance even gets a chance to shine. I know it's totally unfair, but it's true. So here's a tweak that I want you to think about making. We want to shift your title from describing a topic to highlighting a specific outcome or tension. So most podcast titles sound like Episode 52, Nutrition Tips for Beginners, or How to Improve Your Morning Routine, or Why Mindset Matters for Business Growth. And to be honest, they're fine. They're absolutely fine. But you know what else? They're also wildly ignorable. And I say that with love. So instead, I want you to ask yourself, what problem does this episode help someone solve today? Then I want you to reflect that into the title. So instead of strength training for basics, you'd write why you're sore after every workout but not seeing results and what to change. Or instead of maybe time management for entrepreneurs, you'd write why you feel busy all day but nothing important gets done. I know I'd listen to that one. It's the same episode, but a completely different click potential. And here's why this works so well. It mirrors what's already going through your listener's head, okay? It creates curiosity without being vague, and it promises clarity instead of just another generic how-to, because we don't need any more of those. And the thing is that you're still being strategic, still honest, still aligned with your long-term growth, but there's no dramatic eyebrow raising required. So let me tell you about a client I worked with recently. She was publishing consistently. Great audio, solid content, all the quote-unquote good podcaster boxes. Check. But her downloads, yeah, they were meh. But the thing of it is that we didn't touch her release schedule. We didn't overhaul her content. We didn't add more platforms to her list. I rewrote 5 episode titles. That's it. Same episodes, same feed, same audience. And within a few weeks, downloads were up 20% on those episodes. She was able to take those exact things that I walked her through and taught her, and she changed older episodes. And you know what happened? The older episodes started getting new traction. And she finally felt like her content was actually being seen, because it was. So why? Why was this? Because her titles stopped just describing what the episode was about and started inviting the listener into a solution. Because that's the thing. We're all out here searching for solutions to our problems, right? And that's attraction working the way it's supposed to. A quick side note, if you're hearing this and thinking, wait a daggone minute, I might have the same title problem. Well, the good news is that the Seamless Growth Audit looks at exactly this kind of stuff. We dig into your titles, your episode structure, what's working, what's not. And listen, you don't have to take my word for it. Tori from the Fruitful Fertility Co. podcast said this when I asked her if she would recommend a podcast growth audit to others. She said, 1,000,000% yes. When Leah says she will audit your podcast from top to bottom, she means every single nook and cranny. I feel like she put so much time, strategy, and thought into the plan that she gave me, and it was so organized. I highly, highly, highly recommend. I booked my second session before we even finished our first one. And it's so true. I'm so excited to meet back up with Tori in March to see how things are progressing and what changes she has made. I'll drop the link in the episode description below if you want to check that out and book yours today. All right, so back to why all of this matters for your bigger podcast picture. So this episode title tweak sits right at the intersection of strategy, which is knowing who you're talking to and what they care about, and attraction, which is helping the right people find and choose your episode. But here's what I want you to remember. Please remember this. This tweak works best when your overall structure is dialed in. Okay, so if your episode goal is not clear, if your audience is unclear, or your show positioning is kind of like all over the place, a better title helps, but it sure is not going to carry the whole show on its back. All right. And that's why I treat episode titles as a multiplier. Okay. So here's what I want you to do before you publish your next episode. I want you to pause and ask yourself, what makes this episode worth clicking right now? What makes this episode worth clicking right now in this very moment? Then I want you to rewrite the title to reflect a clear, specific outcome your listener is ready to feel. Okay? And if you're sitting here thinking, Leah, I don't have any clue which titles, topics, or patterns are hurting my growth at all. I don't know. Well, you're in luck because, again, that's what we do inside the Seamless Growth Audit. I analyze your titles, your positioning, your overall structure, so you're not guessing anymore, because guessing, my friend, is not a strategy. We want you to adjust with intention. Now, if this tweak has already sparked ideas for you, well, imagine what happens when we zoom out and look at your full picture. You'll find that link in the description below to book your growth audit. And I will see you in the next episode of the Podcasting Problem Solver. Until then, keep your podcast purposeful, keep those titles clickable, and keep your growth seamless. And I'll see you next time.